everyone, and happy May. For many of us, this is the time of year when we hit the lakes. So I thought right now might be a helpful time to offer 50% off of both Phil Rowley's and Brian Chant's masterclasses. Right now, if you buy one or the other, you will get them both packaged together at 50% off. Head on over to anchoredoutdoors.com, click on either Brian's or Phil's masterclass, and then simply enter coupon code Stillwater 2024. That's Stillwater 2024. Enjoy 50% off and fantastic fishing this year. Hope to see you out there.
One crucial aspect of Stillwater fly fishing is how do you find fish in lakes? How do you read a lake? When you look at rivers and streams, they're completely different. In a river environment, the trout holds in a spot, a lie, a station, and the food is brought to the trout by the current. In lakes, there is no appreciable current, so the fish are cruisers. When you look at a river, they're a lot more manageable to read. You can walk across them. You can see to the other side. You can see likely looking spots where a trout may hide. When you get to the shore of a lake, they're vast. They're featureless. You certainly can't wade across them. Sometimes you can't even see to the other side. So how do you find fish in lakes? Well, I use the same logic that river and stream anglers do for lakes as well. I'm going to look for areas that offer comfort, protection, and food, and use my powers of observation to pull these three factors together to help me find fish. Let me explain what I'm talking about. So let's talk about comfort factors. For me, they're arguably the most important factor when it comes to finding trout because it's all about the trout's metabolism and the basic needs it requires to function. And it's all primarily centered around water temperature and its relationship to oxygen content. The warmer water gets, the less oxygen it holds. Trout have a preferred temperature range. I look for water temperatures between 50 Fahrenheit and 65 Fahrenheit. That is where their metabolism is going to be functioning at peak efficiency. They're going to be feeding, digesting, feeding again. That 50-degree Fahrenheit temperature is an important stillwater temperature, both in early spring, as it's often the trigger for the significant hatches of the season to get going, and in the fall months, it's sort of that kick in the pants the trout need to strap on the feed bag and start stocking up for the cold, hard winter ahead. Finding the correct water temperature is key when you're looking for comfort factors. Using the thermometer on your electronics, if you have a sounder, or a small handheld thermometer with a cord attached to it, allows you to prospect different levels of the lake to provide that preferred temperature range of trout. Aquatic vegetation is also another source of oxygen because during the day, plants respire through photosynthesis, taking in carbon dioxide and giving off oxygen. Other comfort factors to consider include environmental change, such as weather. We've got a little bit of snow going on here today, so we've got some weather change coming in. That can unsettle a fish. It's that period of change that they don't seem to like. It's like Mother Nature just took their world like a snow globe and gave it a good shake, and until things settle out and that new normal establishes itself, the trout can go off the feed a little bit. So these comfort factors are important because if the trout are not comfortable and functioning properly, they're not likely to feed. Protection factors provide trout with that sense of confidence to come in and feed, to throw caution to the wind a little bit. It makes them more catchable. So think about the water surface. Like a riffle on a stream, a rippled water surface breaks up and diffuses light. Weed beds. Trout are perfectly camouflaged to swim over and through weeds. They're going to love to hang out in these areas. Think about structure, drop-offs, points of land, sunken islands. All of these places provide a shallow area to feed and a security of deep water nearby. Think of areas of transition, rocks to mud, weeds to rocks, weeds to mud, those kind of things. There are some useful tools that you can take advantage of to help you find structure in lakes. Some of this, a lot of it, you can do at home. Google Maps, Google Earth. You can use these to find points, drop-offs, sunken humps, areas of transition. Bathymetric or underwater contour maps, if you can find them on a particular lake, are excellent too. The lines on these maps join areas of equal depth. Lines concentrated, tight together, indicate a rapid change in depth. That would be a drop-off. You can see points of land on a bathymetric map, shallow shoals, all of these features. Again, these are useful tools that you can use to find those key structural elements that trout will cruise by frequently. When you get to the lake, pay attention to the surrounding topography. look at the angle or the slope of the land as it comes into the lake. A shallow gradient is going to carry on under that water. That's a likely area where you're going to find shallow shoals, weed beds. That's the grocery store of the lake. A steep-sided shoreline is going to signify deep water and probably less likely to hold fish. So think about these protection factors when you're on the water. The final factor to consider is food. After all, that's what fly fishing is based upon, imitating the different food sources trout feed upon in lakes. So you're going to again look for weed beds. Weed beds are the grocery store of the underwater world. While you don't have to have a degree in aquatic entomology, you should have a good understanding of the different food sources, what they look like, how do they move. If they're insects, how do they emerge? Do they emerge at the surface? Do they crawl out of the water to emerge like dragonflies and damselflies? And finally, a throat pump is a valuable tool to use as well. When you catch a fish, careful use of a throat pump can quickly identify what items are on the menu so you make the right fly and presentation choices. Your powers of observation is the final piece of this puzzle that pulls the three factors: comfort, protection, and food all together. Your eyes and ears are arguably the best tools you have with you. You're going to be looking for spider webs. You're going to invest 10 to 15 minutes walking along the shoreline, turning over rocks and logs, looking for different food sources. What's most prevalent? What color is it? If you don't even know what it is, how does it move? How does it swim? Choose a fly that looks like that, has the same color, make it move the same. The surrounding weeds can give you clues as to what color flies you should be using because the food sources want to match the environment they live in. An aquarium net is a handy thing. When you're on the water, you can use it to scoop up things that you see in there without the risk of falling out of the boat. When you're on the water, you're looking around. Look for birds. If you see birds moving in one area, that's the sign that the hatch may be going on. Just like the ocean-going angler uses gulls to locate bait balls, we're using birds like swallows to locate areas of emerging insects, because you can rest assured if the swallows are paying attention to the adults flying away, trout are probably feeding on the emerging nymphs and pupa below. You can look for other anglers, see where they're located, get an idea of the tools that they're using, what lines, what retrieves, things like that. You can then match what they're doing to what you are going to do and enjoy the same success they are. When you're on the water, follow a logical path. Don't be jitterbugging all over the place. Move around, build a plan, and stick to it. If you're going to sit in a spot, don't sit around there all day long. 15 to 30 minutes and then move again. And you don't have to make an exponential move. You can move 2 cast lengths down and try that spot. If anchoring and casting to certain areas isn't working, consider trolling, or as I prefer to do, drift lock style using an underwater parachute called a drogue that'll slow and control your drift and allow you to cover water. So your powers of observation and your approach on the water pulls all these factors together so you can consistently find fish.